Hi and welcome to today's episode of Inside the Journey. It is great to have your company. And Ross Nancarrow, it's great to have your company as well.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. It's great to be with you. We've been friends for a long time and looking forward to just sharing of part of the journey. Yeah.
Look, before we, talk about some of those different things that you're involved in, tell us just a little bit about Ross Nancarrow. What's
Sure.
life look like at the moment for you?
Yeah, life in short. I grew up in the Hunter Valley, pretty difficult family life and background. Came to faith in about 25 after kind of running amok for a few years.
Okay.
And then I found purpose, found direction, and started to get involved in some of the Christian community areas, and then working overseas, working in community development, helping churches, and now stopping human trafficking.
Amazing.
And that's been quite a journey in doing that.
Amazing.
The last 6 years we've been working in human trafficking, and that's really taken a lot of my time and life at this stage. Yeah.
Incredible. How do you go from a young man growing up in the Hunter Valley to now working, in that area of human trafficking and alleviating those problems? So that's a huge
It's a massive leap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of transition, lots of waking up to life, waking up to God. There was times where I was, stoned for, maybe years at a time. But just waking up to life, waking up to God has kind of brought me into this space of recognizing this purpose, probably God-ordained purpose in my life that I'm yet to take hold of. And that kind of excites me, Matt.
Yep.
Because I'm still, I just turned 70. You were at the party the other night. And I still feel like there's a lot more yet. I'm still to learn a lot. I'm still to take on. So what's brought me to this point? I don't know, maybe just that wake-up call, or just a sense of I need to stay open to the potential of this life. And I want what it's got to offer.
Yeah, amazing. Very cool, very cool. Yeah. So let's, if we can, just tell us a little bit about, obviously there's a couple of different organisations that you facilitate. You're wearing a shirt, Every Daughter Matters. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about that and what
Absolutely.
you're doing in that space? Yeah.
Sure. So Every Daughter Matters started about 6 years ago. We'd been working in community development, church-based work in Nepal since about 2009. And we'd started to hear the stories of girls being trafficked, and horrific stories, just some of those stories that keep you awake at night. And, we just got to a point where we realised, well, I know what can be done to kind of do something into this area. So the first question was finding the right partners in Nepal. We found the right partners, and it was like, okay, you got no excuse now. I was already busy.
Sure.
But we're like, okay, sounds like, feels like, looks like we need to start an anti-human trafficking organisation.
Wow. Can I just ask quickly, why Nepal? What was it about Nepal that sort of drew you to that region? Yeah,
we had, as I said, we started working there from about 2009. About that time I'd been living in India, and we were doing some, again, church-based works. My wife's a nurse and midwife, and she was doing some ministry in Tamil Nadu, and we were travelling around in different parts of India doing that.
Yeah.
Moved to Nepal and realised this is an amazing country, a country that's kind of been forgotten. 25 years ago, there were still mandatory jail sentences for anyone publicly claiming to be a Christian.
Wow.
And coming out of that, we could see just desperation within the country. We could see bondage to some of the systems that were there, whether it was the caste system or just endemic poverty or the government system or whatever it was. And so we just started to think, man, there's so much opportunity here for good stuff to happen.
Right.
And, and it's in the midst of desperation, in the midst of poverty. And so we really felt a God leading to go and do something, do what you can.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was in that space that Every Daughter Matters started. And, some of the things that we realised, like one of the stories, two girls, 12, 13-year-old, had been sold to a temple as temple prostitutes. And that's illegal, or was illegal. It is illegal and was at the time in Nepal. But these girls were talking to some friends of ours and to their wife, and the stories got back to us, how they feared for their life.
Wow.
Because of the abuse and the physical and sexual abuse that they were suffering every single day.
Yeah.
And we thought, what can we do? So we talked to another organisation in Nepal to do something, and at the end of the day we weren't able to do anything.
Okay.
And then the girls disappeared.
Okay.
And that was kind of an impetus for us to say, man, these innocent young women of Nepal need somebody to do something, because there's currently 20,000 women and girls being trafficked every year from Nepal
Wow.
into India,
Wow.
into organ trafficking, the sex industry, slave labour, and there just seems to be like, well, who's doing something to stop this,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And there are a couple of organisations doing something, but not enough. There's still 20,000 girls being trafficked every year.
Wow.
And so we took a big breath.
Yep.
Okay, let's start a anti-human trafficking organisation, and
Wow.
that's grown and grown. We currently intercept about between 100 and 150 girls every month.
Wow.
And we've just ticked over 6 years, and we did the numbers, and over 5,000 girls have been rescued
Incredible.
from human trafficking. So we're
Before we
really
just-
proud of that.
That is absolutely incredible. Before we just talk about what that then looks like in the journey for those girls as well, from when you were first aware of those girls, those younger girls, which I guess was a bit of a catalyst for you to start.
Certainly.
What was the process like? What did you do? How did you know where to turn to and who to talk to, and how to begin the process of starting an organisation like you have?
Sure. I guess within Australia, I had good experience in not-for-profits.
Okay.
So I had been running another organisation, International Mission Ministries, since 1995. So I had experience on how to do that, what to do in that space,
Yeah.
and even areas of potential fundraising for a not-for-profit. So I knew what to do at this end. It was in the Nepal end.
Okay.
Was the real challenge.
Okay.
Third world country, finding the right partners, and then having a system where you actually make a difference.
Sure.
It's okay to say you do anti-trafficking. Well, what do you actually do? So
Yeah.
for us, we found our partners who'd been working in that space for more than 10 years, and their model was to set up border surveillance interception booths along the border, and physically, as people are crossing that border, it's an open border between Nepal and India.
Okay.
So physically, as people are crossing that border, put staff there who are looking out and spotting young girls, asking the questions with the permission of police and local authorities, and saying, okay, well, who's at risk? And you start with a low-level question, and red flags come up, and you realise, okay, this girl's in a trafficking situation.
Yeah.
So finding the right partners, finding the right model to actually do something to make a difference, and measure that.
Yep.
It wasn't enough to say, well, we work in this space. How do you measure what you're actually doing? So that, from my background, again, I knew that was important. And so, in that sense, okay, well, we've got no excuses now. We've got to do something. Now I know this is happening.
Yeah.
Now I know what to do in Australia. I know I've got the right partners potentially in Nepal. They've got good methodology. It was like, pull the trigger, just go for it.
Wow.
Life's too
Amazing.
short. Just do it.
Amazing. Okay. And so now, what EDM looks like is, as you say, you have your border crossing booths.
Got 13 border surveillance interception booths
Wow.
now along 13 locations along that border.
Amazing.
And I've got about 70 staff in Nepal now.
Incredible. And so what happens, Ross, when there is a suspect vehicle coming through?
Yep.
How are the staff knowing what to look for? How are they? And then what happens once they suspect there is a problem? What then happens to the individual?
Sure. Yeah. So they come via vehicle. They come via like jeepney. They come. They're walking. They might be motorbike. They might be on a bus.
Right.
So our staff have got permission to really stop anybody and question them.
Amazing.
Excuse me. So it starts with low-level questions. Where are you going? Can we see your ID? Do your parents, if they're young girl, do your parents know where you're going?
Yeah.
Who are you going to meet? And if the girl is with a guy, for example, straight away there's another little bit of a flag there.
Yep.
Who's the guy? What's your relationship with this guy? And that's where the flags start to come. They say, no, we don't want to show our ID. Red flag.
Okay.
The guy's my brother. Okay, he doesn't look like you, but okay. Or he's my husband. Okay. If the girl looks young, are you married? Do your parents know you're here?
Yep.
Can we call your parents?
Yep.
No, you can't call my parents. Another red flag.
Yep.
And so as more red flags kind of rise like that, we would then bring the police into the situation pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe the girl is with a guy and she's been promised a love marriage, every girl's dream.
Yeah.
But it's a scam most of the time. It's lies, it's deception to get the girls across the border
wow.
where they're subdued and sold to a brothel.
Yeah, wow.
And it's the same with the promise of jobs. So a girl would come along and same sort of thing. You'd ask the low-level questions. Okay, I'm going to get to a job in India. Can we phone your boss and make sure that you get there okay? That'd be the question.
Yeah.
You phone the guy and he says, I've got Rasmita with me, and he hangs up straight away.
Yeah.
Bang.
Okay.
You know it's a scam straight away.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how you recognize if a girl's being trafficked.
Yep.
From there, we've got emergency accommodation connected to each of those booths on the border,
Right.
and the girls can stay there for up to a week or so. And while they reconcile back to family or reconcile into the community, the challenge, Matt, is a lot of these girls might be running away from home to elope with that guy who's promised the world.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, now her dreams are shattered.
Yeah.
Now it's the recognition that was all a lie.
Yeah.
And she didn't tell mum and dad she's running away from home, and now she's got to go back home.
Yeah.
You can imagine, right?
Yeah. Huge.
Some of those conversations, they're difficult.
Yeah.
But that's what happens.
Okay.
For some of the girls that we were able to intercept, we've got 2 safe homes where we can provide longer term accommodation.
Amazing.
And also skill training.
Yeah.
You do life training, life skill training. Wake up and smell the roses.
Yeah.
This is the real world.
Yeah.
This is what's actually going on here. But then also personal training for understanding how to look after themselves, how to handle money, how to handle community. And then we do skill training, sewing training, food preparation. We've just introduced computer training classes into both of those places, and about to move into hairdressing and beauty salon.
Amazing.
So it gives a variety of skills depending on the skill set of the girls coming through.
Yep.
And we can accommodate about up to 20 girls in each of those safe homes at any given time.
Right. Well.
And they'll stay for 6 months. And then
Okay.
we turn it over and do it again for another.
And so those girls that have only been there for 6 or so months, do they transition into some work? Do they have a little business that they get involved in? And
Generally, that's exactly right.
Amazing.
We try to get them work ready,
Yeah.
if we can.
Yeah.
If some are quite gifted, let's say in sewing, we'll try and set them up with a sewing machine so they can start a little business, a micro enterprise business,
Awesome.
something like that. Otherwise, it's just, getting them kind of work ready so they're not thinking of, I've got to go to India to get a job. They can actually get a job in Nepal, closer to home, family.
Amazing.
Yeah, things like that.
The work that you're doing and your staff and the team are doing is obviously it's life-changing. How does everyone sort of sustain that energy to keep going day after day, week after week, month after month? What is it that, obviously there's a huge motivator to seeing girls free from these situations, but what about when things get really tough? And for yourself, what about yourself? I mean,
great question. I think on the ground in Nepal, one of the obviously we're paying the staff there, but there's more than that. We know that everyone there is in it for a heart perspective.
Yep.
Quite a number of our staff in Nepal are actually girls we've intercepted who've gone through our safe home.
Wow.
And they know they've been abused, they've been in those horrible, horrible situations, and they know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so there's a driver for them.
Yeah.
And it's not easy for them. They're out in all kinds of weather. We've got a little booth there. It's like a garden shed, basically, and it's sitting in the sun, and that's where they come back to. So it's hot, it's dirty, it's dusty. You're on the roads there. there's potential for abuse from people who don't want to hear that their dream is about to be shattered, you know. You got all of that. But we see those girls and talk to them, and I just think of some of the stories. I think of Anuska. She got Counsellor of the Year last year in some awards that we gave out, and she's now on the same border that she was rescued from.
Wow. Wow.
So there's massive motivation for her.
Incredible.
At this end, it's similar for our staff here in Australia. We look for people who have got a heart for this, and really, it's more than a job. It becomes consuming.
Yeah.
For me, I've gone through you go through the highs and lows of almost secondhand post-traumatic stress, you know, and I've been at times, Matt, where I just think, this is just too hard to hear these stories, and I read the reports every single month of everyone that's in those reports and their background and where they come from. And I've had times where I think it's too hard. Like, I don't know, I don't want to think about it. I have times where I think I don't want to think about human trafficking. Yeah. I don't want to think about horrible, disgusting things and abuses happening to innocent girls anymore. Yeah. And I'll try and just block it out for a while, go on a trip or do something, you know, hang out with that.
Yeah.
But the driver is knowing that today between 3 and 5 girls will be rescued.
Amazing.
Today, because that's the numbers.
Amazing.
Every single day between 3 and 5 girls. Today, between 3 and 5 girls will have their lives turned around, and they'll have a shot at life, and they won't have to go through that horrible, horrible stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So that to me is that keeps me going. And if I start to get down these days, 3 more today. 3,
Incredible.
maybe more, maybe 5.
Incredible.
Today.
Incredible.
And so that keeps me going.
Yeah, that is really amazing. And I think sometimes in the West, here in Australia, and you might be watching from another Western country, it's easy to forget sometimes the things that are happening in other places.
Absolutely.
Like Nepal, like India.
Yeah.
And to hear those numbers, 3 to 5 girls today,
that's right.
their lives will be changed. Is incredible.
The thing is, I think we get taken up with what's in our world, what's happening around us, in our sphere of influence, or with our friends, with our job, with our town, with our city, whatever. There's a whole world out there, and I understand there's a lot of crazy things happening in our world. Sure. A lot of things I don't want to think about, and I don't want to just put my mind there. But there's also some good things happening in the world.
Sure.
And I think of, this is a horrible, difficult area to talk about in human trafficking. But when I think of girls being rescued out of that and having a shot at life, it takes us beyond ourselves. It takes us beyond our sphere of influence. And the crazy thing, Matt, is anyone can be a part of that. Anyone can join in and say, I can do something towards that. Here's a good group, and it might be us, it might be another good organisation, whoever. But we can do good.
Absolutely.
We've got something to give. It's a voice. If nothing else, we've got a voice.
Correct.
We can advocate for other people and organisations to say these guys do good, or we can give and be a part of that to rescue girls.
It's great.
There's a lot people can do.
What would you say to someone that has sort of something in them stirring to help someone else or do something in some way? They don't quite know where to start, they don't quite know what to do. How would you encourage those people to take that maybe first step?
I'd say don't hold back. Go to that person, say, can I sit with you? Can I understand your world? Can I pray for you? Can I move into anything to encourage, something more? And that's at the micro level of just day to day with people, and we get to do that. With all of the crap that's happening in this world, we actually get to make a difference and do something good.
Amazing.
We can encourage somebody. We can smile at that person behind the counter we're buying something from, and let them know that, we see them. They're not just plugging away, putting things through a register all day. we see them.
That connection.
We
just that
see who
connection.
they are. That's right.
Important.
Just start there.
Beautiful.
Just
beautiful.
start there.
Look, I'm going to leave some links in the description of this video. How can people, if people are interested in more information for Every Daughter Matters, how can people sort of check out what you do and take maybe another step
Absolutely.
in helping?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Go to Every Daughter Matters, www.everydaughtermatters.org.au. Go onto our socials. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, all of those things, and share it, pass it on.
Beautiful.
And that's something. It only takes 5 seconds, if that, but it actually makes a difference because it spreads the word of who we are, what we do, and you can be a part of what we do simply by passing it on. And that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah. Look, Claire and myself have been sort of involved with assisting where we can in that, and seeing the work that you and the team are doing is incredible. And
Thanks,
I just want to thank you for your time this morning.
Very welcome.
I have no doubt what you have shared has blessed people and ministered to people, and all strength to you, my friend.
Thanks,
it is
mate.
absolutely incredible. So thank you so
Thanks,
much
mate.
for
Thanks,
being
mate.
on today's episode. Guys, once again, I'm going to leave some info in the description in this video. Please take a look, get involved. You've heard the work that Ross and the team are doing, and it's life-changing in ways that you probably never even really understand either.
We don't see it, a lot of it, yeah.
Powerful, powerful. So guys, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Inside the Journey. For now, have a great day. Goodbye.